Hi there. This thing's called mullet. Now, I thought mullet was a fish. And this is maybe just about as attractive as wearing a fish. However, this journal is called They Won the Mind Game. Don't forget to enjoy. Yeah, the wink is even part of the title. Okay, so this is from July 9th, 2010, the first one of that day, and the Mayan day was 5 seed or lizard. What arises this day? Will there come a day soon when there won't have to be the arising before arising just to take the pain med and lay back down to rest while it takes effect? That would be interesting. A neat bit of freedom that would be. Not that I'm complaining, at least I don't mean to be. It's one of those things that just is what it is in the now, and that's okay. I'm quite sure I volunteered for this, to have it be this way. My higher self knows what's going on, what the benefit is. I'm content with that. It's okay too, though, to have those moments where we let it get to us a bit, where it seems burdensome. That's just part of the picture in 3D, or so it seems to me just now. One of the biggest things I'm loving is not judging. Okay, something came to me to say in that last paragraph and I didn't say it. It looks like I'm going for a cross here between live and written journals. The last journal I did, I recorded, there were lines and things in it that just weren't there in the transcript. So maybe they're morphing that way. Anyway, when I say that my higher self knows what's going on and I'm content with that, the fun and the joy in that is once we know that higher self knows, then we just open our eyes and we start watching. And if we're watching and open-minded and kind of empty-minded, empty-headed, quiet in there, then we begin to see and we get that communion going with the higher self. Kismet, leave the kitty alone. Okay, so one of the biggest things I'm loving is not judging this self or others for anything. That is such a relief, I can tell you, to no longer paint with or be painted with that brush. The paint it uses is shite, my friend, to borrow a phrase from David Icke, a word. Pure crap that has nothing to do with the light. We dirty ourselves by even using that paintbrush, even picking it up. No judgment. There's no light in it. Now, that doesn't mean no discernment. There's a big difference here that the dark side would like to tell you is just a subtle one. Judgment versus discernment. That's how the dark side misleads. They want to pin you to words and then play with you there. Well, just don't go there. If you stay in the heart, they can't do that to you, my friends. You'll always ride below the words, to the meaning they point to, instead of playing that game with the surface. To discern is to distinguish, to tell the light from the dark. That's not judgment. To judge is to condemn in some way, not so with discernment. To judge is to rule. We judge from a lower level than we discern from. That's what I'm trying to say. To discern is to rise up higher, to have no condemnation of any kind. Just a preference, perhaps, but not judgment. To discern light from dark is not to judge the darkness as wrong. to judge the darkness, to condemn it as bad or evil. Do you see the difference there? Well, the thing about those behind the scenes who manipulate mankind, the thing you don't often hear spoken of, is their tremendous mental faculty and power. They are better at mind games than we are, my friends, in our present 2- or 3-stranded DNA state. They've simply got the advantage on the level of the mind. It's important to know this, to accept it. It makes sense of things. Now, for the part of some of you that is speaking up, saying that feeling it can be successfully complete. All right, now what is this? Part of some of you that is speaking up, saying and feeling it can successfully compete with this dark force. Oh, got it. Sorry, guys. The mind will speak up, and it will say and it will feel that it can win the fight with the dark side, that you're smart enough, that you're slick enough, that you can marshal all of your arguments and have science behind you, and the mind just goes on and on that way. Well, that is just the mind, and it's dangerous to believe it. Do that if you want to. Just beware, that's all. Be sure to be observing, to be watching, and heart-centered at all times when you go forth playing that game. Meanwhile, let's all stay in heart here. Let the mind do what it will. Let it chatter on. You don't need to listen, my friend. Just ignore it. Stay in the heart. Stay heart-centered with me here as we march on. So, do consider that they have the use of more DNA, more connected DNA than we do. Right now, we can hardly imagine that, but as our 3rd strand gets reconnected, we begin to be able to see the difference, to distinguish and discern how new abilities are so different, they must have a biological component. That just makes perfect sense when this is happening to you. The changes are too big. So the bottom line there is that each strand, and actually they come online in 3s for you, but each strand or triplet makes an awesome difference. It takes up into new being entirely. We look back at ourselves thinking we were just little children compared to what we are or are becoming right now, as our DNA is restructured, turned on for each one. That is happening to you. Did you know that? Some of the odd sensations, the strange aches and pains that you feel are attributable to that process. Or maybe you didn't know. This is also the reason you may have a shite storm erupting in your life on and off. There are all kinds of things laying dormant in each one of us. They act as blockages to the flow of the oncoming intensity of light. Well, as our new DNA is activating, new energy flows begin to occur that stirs up as it encounters those blockages. If it was all turned on at once, my friends, we'd explode. There